So, thanks, Jane, Sonia. I'm delighted to be here, and thanks for this opportunity. I think I know most of you, but those of you who don't know me, I work within the partnerships team at LifeArc, and have been leading on the work we do in providing services to the charity sector as a whole. Beth also sits in my team, and essentially, LifeArc has been through a journey lately, since Sam Barrow started as the CEO in October last year, and we, as most of you know, we are a self-funded, not-for-profit, with three sites across the UK. But more recently, we are sort of going through an evolution of our strategic thinking, focusing greatly on rare diseases and underserved patients. And that sort of came about for two reasons. This is my personal thought as opposed to LifeArc approved sort of messaging, if you like. But the as you may know, we LifeArc has been focusing on five thematic translational challenges, as they were called. Sam came and looked at it and thought, this all of this largely falls under what could be described as rare and underserved. And then, of course, we have a broader remit in the global health space. So there's a messaging element to it, which is, we now focus on entirely on rare diseases and underserved patients, but also to include in the global health space on antimicrobial resistance as well as resistant infections. And they seem to sort of split it into three goals: collaboration across sectors and borders. We want to coordinate also efforts to improve policies and regulation. And of course, with the fundamental theme of trying to develop treatments and diagnostics in the rare disease and underserved areas faster, in a way that is more efficient. And therefore, that reflects a move towards more clinical funding opportunities. So our funding, that historically that we've done in the rare disease area through the philanthropic fund and the gene therapy innovation fund has been paused currently in favor of a refresh that will soon to come out later in the year. But as Jane mentioned, the bread and butter of our existence has always relied on our ability to sort of use the platforms we've had for humanization, and that's the team that Preeti now heads up, and Veronica sit in as a senior business development manager, I think, and focusing on actually now expanding that platform. You may all remember Jason, who used to be the CBO, sort of led an initiative trying to look at how could we bring all this into, a real more contemporary approach, bringing our pedigree in antibody humanization, but now looking at what platforms are there and how can we build that up to actually offer a service that actually can help anyone actually developing antibodies in the space to really do it in a cost-effective way, where there's initially no. So the model, I think, is the highlight of our existence in many ways, and because let's face it, this whole industry has been sort of commoditized in some way. How can we stand out as LifeArc, as a not-for-profit, to actually serve? And the thought here, specifically looking at TAR, who've been doing a fantastic job of sort of bringing together, coalescing the ecosystem of charities, trying to sort of progress towards really robust translation of outputs that they fund into the clinic in all ways, shape, and form. And this could be, and we're seeing more slowly, some charities approaching us with, oh, we're sort of working with a company that's working to develop an antibody, but then they run into sort of the usual cost issue and cannot go to a typical firm that does this. I hand over to Veronica now, who will sort of take you through the whole process of how to do it and how charities that are sort of wading into the area. And I also, just as a last point, I see Dave here, and we've done sort of review of portfolios of charity funded projects. This, I'm hoping, would sort of enable the charity also to think, here is an antibody project that I'm supporting in the early days. Let's start highlighting that in a way that there is a potential in the future, should it all go to plan, and they develop a candidate that's now useful for further validation. Veronica.
Okay, great. Thank you, Madhu, for setting the stage so well and giving a great overview of LifeArc. So I'll share my screen so that we can kick off. Okay. So can you all see my screen? Okay, great. So yes, thanks Madhu for the introduction. And as Madhu mentioned, today really this session will be focusing on our antibody discovery and development and humanization capabilities. So really we will be talking about why we think that LifeArc is an ideal partner for antibody development and how we collaborate with innovators, so with academics, early stage biotechs, and what is unique about us, what why we differentiate from others. So we will tell you more about our business model and how it's designed to empower innovators. So this is essentially what we have lined up for today. So I'll give a quick introduction to LifeArc and our track record in antibody development. Of course, for the benefit of for those who might not be familiar. Then we'll really dive into the our strategic partnering business model, really to give you an idea of how we can collaborate. How do we collaborate and structure those partnerships with innovators? I'll give a brief overview of our offering capabilities, really to give you an idea at what stage of the development process for the antibodies we can really support, so that you have partners have really an idea of what is the right time to engage with us. And finally, I thought it would be nice to shine the light on one of our recent collaboration and partnerships with Kaisoji, a biotech company based in Canada, who we worked with recently. Yeah, so we'll wrap up with a Q&A session. So I believe that the part won't be recorded, so it's really an opportunity to have an informal chat, ask questions, and really hear your thoughts about the session. So Madhu already touched on this. So LifeArc, as a self-funded medical research charity, really focuses in translational science, so in bridging the gap between research and clinical application. So our mission is really to generate medical breakthroughs for patients in areas of unmet medical need. And Madhu mentioned that we have a strategic focus in rare disease and global health. Concerning our antibody discovery and humanization platforms, true to its name, this really sits in an early stage expertise. However, we are expanding our focus also in later stage translation, as we believe that we can achieve a patient impact more rapidly. And we are we have an excellent track record of success in humanizing antibodies that today actually are on the market and are delivering high patient impact. And for over 30 years, we have humanized 95 antibodies with a success rate of 98%. 5 of these are on the market. You might be familiar with Keytruda, that has been approved for 20 different cancer therapeutic indications. And we have partnered with 51 organizations worldwide, and this number keeps increasing every year. We are also very proud of the contribution of these 5 drugs that are currently on the market. So recent success stories are Keytruda, as I mentioned before, and Leqembi, that has been approved last year for the treatment of Alzheimer's. So what we are proud of is actually that the antibody sequences that left our labs years ago, they're actually the same, although they changed the hands of many partners throughout the years before getting to the market. They are the same that are injected and commercialized into patients. So this is really a true testament of our scientific expertise. As I mentioned, we'll really dive into our partnership strategic model. So collaboration has always been at the heart of what we do at LifeArc. We really believe that by collaborating, sharing expertise, resources, and technologies, we can achieve much more than what we can do alone. And this is really reflected through our partnership business model. So which I will tell you in the next slide. And essentially, this is really reflects our commitment for partnerships that are really driven in delivering solutions to patients. And so what will the partners get from us if they decide to collaborate with us? So essentially, you will gain access to our technologies, our cutting edge capabilities, and also our expert scientific team, as well as our supportive collaborative model. And we essentially fund the work that we perform. So we will progress the project at no cost for the partner. So this will allow the partner to, let's say, allow the partner to use that funding for the later stage development of the asset and for critical activities. So really, we will progress the project to the next stage in order that can, let's say, translate and reach that inflection point in order to develop further. And the partner will keep and retain the IP as well as commercial rights. And we operate also with a very collaborative type of model, meaning that we keep our partners involved at every step. And we consider any therapeutic indication. So we are agnostic in terms of indication. So whether the target is in oncology or is in infectious disease or other areas, the shared focus of this project is really that they have to address an unmet medical need and they have to have a potential for patient impact. So we already touched throughout the previous slides. However, we partner with innovators across the world as we believe that innovation is global. And at LifeArc, thanks really to the royalties of those products that I mentioned before that are today on the market, we are in this financial position where we can be enablers in the ecosystem. So essentially, we can support and collaborate with academics, research institutes, startups, biotech companies to translate the research, so to prevent those barriers and making sure that promising research makes it to the next stage of development. And we have worked throughout the years with 51 companies across 13 different countries. And so really we want to make sure that promising research makes it to the next stage and gets closer to patients. So as I mentioned, I also run you through very briefly without going too much in depth into the science about our offering so that really you have an idea of what is the stage that really we can support. And the team at LifeArc that is dedicated to working on the antibody is the Biologic Discovery and Development team. They are mainly based in Stevenage, as well we have a satellite lab in the Francis and Crick Institute. So our antibody, so we have a team that is split in 4 key main functions. We have our antibody humanization platform team. So really, our activities in the humanization are combining CDR grafting methods with molecular modeling. And in 2019, we have decided to enhance our antibody capabilities, and we have licensed a fully human transgenic animal platform from Kymab, which then has been acquired by Sanofi. And this really allows us to generate fully human antibodies directly from the partner's target, so bypassing the need of humanization. So these 2 teams then, as a result, the output from these 2 teams then goes to the screening and lead characterization team. So this is a dedicated team really focused on characterizing the output from these programs and really characterizing a panel of lead candidates that then we decide to bring forward. And then we have also the protein and analytical science team. So this is a key team, an integral part of the different functions. So they are really dedicated in protein production, in design and antigen generation, as well as reagent screening generation. So it's key for the activities of all of the other teams that I described. So essentially, what do we offer in summary? So we offer a fully human antibody discovery platform, as well as an antibody humanization platform. This depends, of course, on the needs of the project and on the partner. So we really help early stage research to get to the next stage. And in terms of the discovery platform, we combine innovative B-cell technologies and a transgenic animal platform that can fully generate human antibodies. So the partners will come to us with a target and with a certain extent of validation, and we will design together the scope of work. And we have offer expertise in immunogen prep and reagent screening. These are key steps for the immunization strategy and the screening cascade, so we can design the antigen and the reagents for screening. Then we'll move on to the immunization strategies. We can offer different multiple immunization strategies, also a combination of them based on the characteristic of the antigen and ensuring that it's in its most native form possible. After immunization, we'll then we will harvest the cell and do B cell sorting and clone selection. So for the cell sorting, we actually have two complementary technologies. We have the FACS that sorts for antigen positive B cells, and then we have also the beacon that can sort for antibody secreting cells. So based on the need of the project, we can use one or the other. Regarding the humanization, instead, we offer a comprehensive design and production of human-like antibodies. And we have experience in humanizing from different species as well as different modalities. So we are not limited only on IgGs, but also VHH, VHH-FCs, single domain antibodies. So in this case, the partner will come already with a lead molecule candidate, so their parent antibody. We will produce the chimeric antibody as a positive control throughout the process, and then we'll start with the design of the human variants. So we are not limited in the human variants that we produce, and we tap into our proprietary database of heavy and light chain frameworks. So really we cross and combine heavy and light chain in order to have the best antibodies, the best human variants that keep the same properties of the parent molecule. And then we'll follow with the production of the human variants. For both of these programs, they both feed in a high throughput screening. So we will do a small scale production of these antibodies and then screen for binding and function in order that we can funnel down the antibodies to a panel of lead candidates of about 5 to 10 lead candidates that then we decide to bring forward. So we have a dedicated screening and characterization team, as I mentioned before, so we can do a lot of optimization and characterization of this panel of candidates really to deliver to you the best candidate. So we can offer kinetic profiling. We can offer a suite of pharma standard assay to improve the biophysical properties of this antibody in order that has the best drug-like properties for their development. Also, on requirement, we can offer some antibody engineering, removal of sequence liability. And so at the end of this campaign, really, we deliver to you a lead candidate and backups that are ready for in vivo testing. So really here is to give you also an idea about what we look for when we decide to collaborate on projects. So essentially, as I mentioned before, the shared focus for these projects is really that they have to address an unmet medical need and they have to have potential for patient impact. We rely on the partner to have a strong supporting data package, in particular for the antibody humanization. They will have to have identified the lead molecule that they want to bring forward. So we expect that they will have a data package with some in vitro and ideally showing the activity of the parent antibody and the scientific rationale. We look at the favorable IP situation for these programs as well as the competition. Regarding our antibody discovery program, we will, because we start from the target, we will ask the partner for a certain extent of validation of the target, so some supporting in vitro in vivo data, showing scientific rationale and disease linkage. We will consider also the tractability of the antibody discovery campaign, the requirements of the partner, if they need an immunogen and reagents for screening, if they have available in-house the functional assay. And finally, what we look carefully is really if the partner has thought about a route to the patients and also has thought about their commercial plan. So finally, I would like to end this presentation really to shine the light on one of our partnerships. So as I mentioned before, we have partnered over the years with over 51 companies or an organization. So 5 drugs are on the market, but we have others that are in preclinical and clinical stage. And today, really, I would like to tell you more about our recent partnership with a company that delivered an antibody that today is in clinical trials. So this is an antibody. So essentially, this is a collaboration with Kaisoji. Kaisoji is a biotech based in Canada, focused on delivering novel therapeutic antibodies. And we worked with them in humanizing a first-in-class unconjugated or naked antibody targeting TROP2. So TROP2 is a promising target, a cancer target, as it's overexpressed in many solid tumor and is lower expressed in normal tissues. So really making it this an ideal target. And currently, the drugs that are in development, one is also approved by the FDA, are ADCs. So they are antibodies conjugated with a toxic payload. So this toxic payload is released in the site of the tumor. The limitation is that not always is tissues and tumor specific, so also healthy cells get caught in this crossfire, limiting, of course, the dosing for this product as well as the full potential. So what Kasoji was looking at is a more safer approach and more effective candidate. So just to give you an idea of the developmental journey, Kaisoji was working in generating antibodies against TROP2, and they had this their proprietary transgenic mouse platform, and they were generating single domain antibodies. They had a panel of candidates that showed effective in vivo, that show in vivo efficacy in reduction of the tumor growth. In 2022, they approached LifeArc and for the humanization of 2 of their candidates. One was an unconjugated anti-TROP antibody, and the second was an ADCs. So really, LifeArc, together with Kaisoji, worked in developing methods to really design an antibody that could maintain the same properties of the original parent antibody and also reduce the immunogenicity in humans. As I mentioned before, we're also very collaborative. So really, we rely also on the partner and in terms of the functional in vitro assay that they have set up in-house. So in this case, Kaisoji was analyzing and screening the lead candidates that to ensure that they will behave as the original molecule. So by really combining this both of our expertise, we really were able to produce a lead candidate that had optimal expression profile, great binding and stability, and had great biophysical characteristics. What is next for this antibody? So regarding the unconjugated anti-TROP2, recently has been announced in October of 2024 that Kaisoji, in collaboration with Cancer Research UK, will run clinical trials for this naked anti-TROP2. So this is really an opportunity, and if successful, can really offer an alternative to ADCs, so will be a less toxic treatment and really expand the options in the treatment options for hard to treat tumors such as lung, ovarian, and pancreatic cancer. So really, this is an example of how we collaborate with partners. We look into opportunities, we take on the risks, and in order to deliver innovative therapies. Finally, this is a quote from our partner, Gordon, from Kaisoji, and really we look forward to their success. So this really brings us to an end of the presentation. So thank you for your attention. And if you would like to learn more about us, explore collaboration opportunities, please feel free to reach out. These are our contact details. And now I'm happy to take on any question you may have.